Shalom, shalom, Israel's brothers. Y'all are coming back at you with another cold cut. I like to give all honor and glory and praise to Yahweh in the name of his son, Yahweh Shai. We're going to hop straight into it. Let's go to Galatians chapter 5. Hop straight into it, right? It's the book of Galatians, chapter 5. Start at verse number 22. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. Against such there is no law. So the fruit of the Spirit that we're going to touch on is gentleness. All right, we want to have gentleness. The Lord is gentle with his servants. We have to be gentle as well. Let's go to the book of 2 Samuel 22 and 36. 2 Samuel chapter 22 and verse number 36. I'll start at verse 34. All right. So what King David said, he maketh my feet like hinds feet and setteth me upon my high places. He teacheth my hands to war, so that a bow of steel is broken by mine arms. Thou hast also given me thy shield, the shield of thy salvation, and thy gentleness have made me great. So the gentleness of the Lord makes us great. The way that the Lord deals with us, the way that the Lord doesn't just automatically cut us off for doing wrong, the way the Lord has forgiveness towards us, the way the Lord teaches us, that the Lord's gentleness makes us great. That's a fruit that we have to bear. We have to learn how to bear that fruit just as much as patience, just as much as faith, right? Love, right? This fruit can make others great as well if we are practicing that, just like how the Lord's gentleness makes us great. Let's go to the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 1. This fruit is very important, all right? We don't want to overlook this fruit, right? This is 2 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 1. Now we read that the Most High was gentle, right? It's 2 Corinthians 10 and 1. Now I, Paul, myself beseech you by the meekness and gentleness of Hamashiach, who in presence and base among you, but being absent and bold towards you. So Yahweh Shah was gentle among us, but the Lord, he said he left us an example. So we have to learn how to be gentle towards others as well. Can't be rough all the time. This is the book of John chapter 13. You cannot be rough all the time. John chapter 13. And I start at verse 15. For I have given you an example that you should do as I have done to you. So if Yahweh Shai had gentleness in him, we have to show that towards our brothers and our sisters, even towards our house. Let's go to 2 Timothy chapter 2 and verse number 24. We want to have gentleness, right? It's the book of 2 Timothy chapter 2. And I start at verse number 23. But foolish and unlearned questions avoid, knowing that they do gender strife. So Paul is writing a letter to Timothy, who's now a bishop over a church, and he's giving him some wisdom and some game on how to operate this church, right? And he says, and the servant of the Lord must not strive, but be gentle unto all men, apt to teach, patient in meekness, instructing those that oppose themselves, if God peradventure will give them repentance to the acknowledging of the truth. So if you want to be a bishop, if you want to be a leader, if you want to oversee things, you have to have gentleness among you. You have to be gentle to the men, that are helping you labor. You have to be gentle. You can't be rough. Can't be this, I'm the guy, so listen to me. I'm the leader. You got to do everything I say, right? And you're just being rough. You're not being gentle. You're not being kind. You don't give a damn. You only care about you. But Paul, he taught the opposite to Timothy, who's now bishop over a church. He said, but to be gentle unto all men, apt to teach, patient. These are the characteristics that a leader should have and that a leader should want to strive for. Because if you're rough, and the Lord said you're going to lose authority. Let's go to Sirach 10 and 21. If you're rough, you're going to lose authority because that comes with pride. This is the book of Sirach chapter 10 and verse 20. It says, among brethren, he that is chief is honorable. So are they that fear the Lord in his eyes. The fear of the Lord goeth before the obtaining of authority, right? So before you obtain authority, before you get into a high position, the Lord said you have to fear him. Because remember, the throne is established by righteousness. Go to Proverbs 16:25. Proverbs chapter 16 and verse number 25. Actually, Proverbs chapter 16, verse 12. And it says, it is an abomination to kings to commit wickedness, for the throne is established by righteousness. So the throne, since is established by righteousness, before you obtain authority, you have to learn the fear of the Lord. Before you obtain authority, true authority, under Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, you have to have fear of the Most High God, because the throne is established by righteousness. So let's go back to that in Sirach chapter 10 and verse 21. The fear of the Lord goeth before the obtaining of authority, but roughness and pride is the losing thereof. So the opposite of gentle is something being rough, rigid, friction. It's not gentle. Causes you to bleed. It hurts. It's not gentle at all. So the Lord said roughness and pride is the losing thereof. The way you lose authority, like I said, you have pride because, you think you're the man, you think you're the guy, right? You think you're the head of just, everything. You think you have preeminence. And then you start dealing roughly with your servants. You're going to lose that authority. You're going to lose respect. You're going to lose people don't want to be around you. Let's get an example of that. Let's go to the book of 2 Chronicles. Let's go to the book of 2 Chronicles. Let's get an example. This 2 Chronicles chapter 10 and verse 8. And 2 Chronicles chapter 10 and 8. But let's start at verse 5. Let's start at verse 6. It's talking about King Rehoboam, right? After the reign of Solomon, Rehoboam stepped up, right? And King Rehoboam took counsel with the old men that had stood before Solomon his father while he yet lived, saying, what counsel give ye me to return answer to this people? And they spake unto him, saying, if thou be kind to this people, right? If you be kind to this people, right? Nice, gentle, and please them and speak good words to them, they will be thy servants forever. But he forsook the counsel which the old man gave him and took counsel with the young men that were brought up with him and that stood before him. So he took counsel of the men that had no experience running a kingdom, that had no experience. That was a stupid move he made. But then again, that's pride. That's called pride. So where we see pride, let's see if we see gentleness next, right? So let's see the counsel that the young men gave him. Verse 9, and he said unto them, what advice give ye that we may return answer to this people, which we have spoken to me, saying, ease somewhat the yoke that thy father did put upon us? And the young men that were brought up with them spake with him, saying, thus shalt thou answer the people that spake unto thee, saying, thy father made our yoke heavy, but make thou it somewhat lighter for us. Because that's what they want. They wanted that yoke to be a little bit lighter, right? There was a lot of laboring going on in Solomon's kingdom, building up the temple, building up his house, right? A lot of movement going back and forth between Tyre and Zidon to Hiram, right, to Jerusalem. So that yoke was kind of hard. So they asked him, can you lighten this yoke? So let's see what the young men that brought up with him said, right? Thus shalt thou say unto them, my little finger shall be thicker than my father's loins. For whereas my father put a heavy yoke upon you, I will put more to your yoke. My father chastened you with whips, but I will chasten you with scorpions. Basically saying, hey, my father did nothing to you. I'm gonna go a lot harder than that. I don't know why would you ever tell a people you're ruling that, like they're gonna want to hear that after they ask for the opposite. But in so much, that's what the response that his friends told him to say. And guess what? That's what he did. So Jeroboam and all the people came to Rehoboam on the third day as the king bade, saying, come again to me on the third day. And the king answered them roughly. And King Rehoboam forsook the counsel of old men and answered them after the advice of the young men, saying, my father made your yoke heavy, but I will add thereto. My father chastened you with whips, but I will chasten you with scorpions. So the king hearkened not unto the people, for the cause was of God, that the Lord might perform the word which he spake by the hand of Ahijah the Shilonite to Jeroboam the son of Nebat. And guess what? He split the kingdom like that. Through roughness and pride, you're going to lose authority. You lost the authority of all 12 tribes. Now you're only ruling over 10. Although we know the Most High set that up. But that's an example as a leader, as a king. You have to have gentleness, as Paul was telling Timothy. That's evil. Let's go to the book of Sirach, chapter 4 and 30. This is the book of Sirach, chapter 4 and verse 30. Be not as a lion in thy house, nor frantic among thy servants. When you go into that word frantic, it goes into being emotional. So as a leader, you can't be a lion in your house, right? Even in your household, right? Or even Even in your congregation, you don't be as a lion. You're just roaring all day. You're yelling, you're roaring, you're knocking things off of tables, you're knocking water bottles off shelves, you're mad, you're doing this every time you get mad. Where's my food? Boom, slam your hand on the table. Why didn't you read? Boom, slam your hand on the table. You're flipping Bibles over. People are scared of you. They hide in closets. You're rough. You're not gentle. Thought the Lord made us as sheep, right? You have to be gentle. So let's go back to that in Galatians. Right? Let's read that again. It's the book of Galatians, chapter 5, and verse 22. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. Against such there is no law. I'd like to give all honor and glory and praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushua, and be the mighty strong. Shalom.